We have started the year with images that we cannot even begin to wrap our minds around. Very strange. A head of state of a country arrested by foreign troops right inside his secure, well-guarded state house, arrested and led away and flown out of the country, into the foreign country of those who have invaded his country and arrested him, and now is set to appear in a court of law in that foreign country. Unbelievable. And most people are looking at this, in my opinion, from the wrong angle. Okay? Of course, it is just crazy. You cannot invade a foreign country. That cannot be allowed to happen. It can't. Whatever the excuse is. That one, I'm very much in full agreement of. It doesn't matter what the former Venezuelan president, Nicolas Maduro, did. It doesn't matter. But you cannot interfere in this way with things in a sovereign state and do your own things. It doesn't matter how powerful you are. You can't. However, there is another angle to this that Kenyans need to pay attention to. These images of a whole president arrested send a very chilling message to leaders around the world who somehow, in their dealings and in their ruling and governance, have done things, illegal things especially, that touch on the United States of America. And that is where the problem is for the country called Kenya. Well, I warmly welcome you to this, my very first video of the year 2026. And I need to say that how we have started the year with images that we can't wrap our minds around. We're going to be seeing a lot of this in the year 2026. Friends, 2026 is not an ordinary year. I refer you to my previous video, where I have made a few predictions on what will happen in the nation called Kenya. But worldwide, it is not an ordinary year. I believe it is also in this year that there will be a very major event in the United States of America that will immediately change things very fast in that country. So that instead of people rushing to get into the States, we will actually reach a situation where people will desperately want to get out of the States. Okay? Now that is a story for another day. I know it sounds crazy, but I've said it. We also cover on my show today a lot of local things that are happening directly, like the Lamu women rep, Muthoni Marubu, who has now come into the national limelight, like the road carnage, which has just gone overboard, like the Babu Wino Robert Alai drama, where guns were drawn, and then very important, touches on all of us, this new police unit, online police unit, that will be monitoring what people are posting and saying on social media. Now, when the police come in, we all know that the police have arresting powers. The law gives them the responsibility of enforcement, which includes arresting people. Okay? Now, everything is linked. And all these things I've mentioned are linked to one thing and one thing alone. Stay with me and find out what it is. Karibuni sana. Twende kazi. Now, it is suddenly very, very relevant that in the year 2015, the then President Barack Hussein Obama declared that Venezuela was a threat to American national security. That happened 10 years ago in the year 2015 under President Barack Obama. That information has suddenly become very relevant. And I'm sure most of us get why. But the issue is this. I would like to ask you a few questions. What does this mean going forward? Well, in my opinion, it means that going forward, there is no nation on earth that is safe from the invasion of Donald Trump and the United States of America. Okay, next question. Why would America do this? Very simple answer. Because of American interests. Okay? Now, the next question is very critical, very crucial. This country called Kenya, has the current leadership done anything that would be a threat to American national security? Has it? No, answer it. Actually, the answer to that question is yes. Many things. Okay? Let me give you a few examples. We are all aware that at the moment, we have FBI agents from America in the country. Why are they here? They are here to recover assets, which was a result of money stolen fraudulently from the United States of America. And of course, this mainly targets developments by members of the Somali community. And so my question is this. This Somali crisis over assets from fraud committed against America, does it involve very powerful people in Kenya? Of course it does. And some of these powerful people, are they very close to the leadership, the executive, the presidency of Kenya? Of course, yes. Let me leave that one here. Let's move on. I'm not holding you in suspense. We'll conclude this. Okay? There is the gold in a country called Sudan. And actually, at the moment, there's a lot of chaos in that country because of this gold. And this gold passes through which country? Kenya. And we have also seen evidence of arms being shipped into that country. Going through which country? Kenya. Let's move on. Kenya is a third world country in Africa. Venezuela is in South America. It's an impoverished country. There are a lot of things which are wrong in that country, bad governance, corruption, just like in Kenya. However, Venezuela is not on par with Kenya. I think we can agree on that. And therefore, what that means is, actually, instead of stating it, let me just ask the question. Okay? Now, which country would be easier to invade? Venezuela or an African country? Let's think of a fictitious African country somewhere. Let's call it Kumasi. It's an African country. Okay? Somewhere in West Africa. Which one would be easier to invade? This country called Republic of Kumasi or Venezuela? Answer that question for yourself. And therefore, this latest development of what happened in Venezuela, as wrong as it is, as crazy as it is, as unacceptable as it is it easier for it to happen in Venezuela? Or is it easier for it to happen in Kumasi? Bottom line, no country in the world that has rubbed the US the wrong way is safe, except for Russia and China, which are other superpowers. But these are the ordinary countries. There is no country in the world that is safe from Donald Trump. Now, Donald Trump has his problems. And there are many, many issues in America at the moment that Americans are complaining about, American voters. including my very dear friend of this channel, somebody who has supported me for a long time. The man can't stand Trump, yeah? And he knows, he understands very well all these things President Trump is doing, yeah, and why he's doing them, yeah, is top-notch when it comes to analyzing Donald Trump. I can never compete with him, okay? However, the truth is, the world has changed, and it has changed in a very major way. As from January 3rd, 2026, things are not the same, and they will never be the same again. Yes, it's true. The US has invaded countries before and either gotten rid of the head of state or taken him away. That has happened before. But this one of Venezuela, it is different. And it marks the world crossing a line that, in my opinion, we have never crossed before. Now, of course, Kenyans are wondering, what's wrong with Kumekucha? Many of you taking in this. What is wrong with this Kumekucha guy? He should be celebrating. He should be happy. Because what this means, yeah, now Kenyans are starting to dream and imagine that because this country called Kenya imechokoza the US in a few ways, the same thing that happened in Venezuela can happen in Kenya. Why doesn't Kumekucha celebrate this? Why, instead of beating about the bush, doesn't he tell us this can happen? Okay? Hey, where do I start? I'm a political analyst. And in my opinion, when you're an analyst, you do not look at things emotionally. You look at things from all angles. And the first angle I'd like to look at this from is that it is going to change the way leaders who are corrupt, leaders who are mismanaging their country, and at the same time, wamechokoza the US, it will change those leaders forever. Imagine if it was you. Imagine if it was you who was the president of a country where you have done 1, 2, 3, which the US were not happy about. And maybe some of those things you have done, they touch on the national security of the United States. What would you be thinking right now? You would want to keep your ambassador and your people in the US very busy. Nataka mchunguze, leo Trump anakaaje? Ameamkaje? Anaongea mambo ya Afrika. Umesikia kitu kama Africa mentioned hapo? Unaona wanajeshi wanajiandaa kwenda mahali. Bottom line, it is a nightmare for them. Now, this is very important. When people are threatened, how do they react? They become paranoid. And when they become paranoid, who suffers the most? Think about it. Who suffers the most? It is like 2 African elephants fighting somewhere in the savannah. It is the grass that takes the brunt, of this major conflict. And in the same way, this paranoia that has now come to the world will affect the citizens of those countries the most. And it will affect them in a very major way. Because you have a leader who is quite understandably paranoid because of what happened in Venezuela. Now, something happened in Murang'a yesterday. The Lamu women rep, who had obviously been briefed before on exactly what to say and how to say it, Muthoni Marubo, who hails from the house of Mumbi. She calls herself Kikuyus in the diaspora, that is, members of the house of Mumbi community, who are not within the Mount Kenya region, who don't reside there, but reside elsewhere. For instance, in Lamu. Okay? Why do I say that she had been told what to say? Because the words that came out of her mouth, if you listen to them carefully, sound very familiar. There is somebody who would say exactly that. There is somebody who speaks like that every day, and we hear him saying words like that, very similar to those words. Okay? So, she came and she was prepared because she knew people would not like what she had to say. But she had been briefed and she had her instructions. And the person who briefed her must have told her, must have given her a heads up on what kind of reaction she should expect. Yeah, people will grumble, people may boo or heckle her, and then hiyo maneno itaishia hapo. Yeah. Now that is important to note because it tells us whoever gave her these instructions did not expect what happened to happen. It didn't cross their minds. That should be obvious. So she comes and she talks, and then she utters a word that makes the crowd go crazy. What word is this? Did she insult somebody? Nope. Did she say something which was uncouth or something which was crazy? No. She just used a very Kenyan word which has come into our vocabulary very recently. Okay? And that word has been birthed by another word which has also come in very recently. And that word is one term. So she used the word two term. Ay, 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 ay. Hey! Temperatures were high, but they were not that high. But when she uttered that word two term, the video is online, it has gone viral. All hell broke loose. And she had to be protected by the police. Several policemen, I counted them, over 10. And they led her away from danger. She got into a vehicle and got out of there fast. Now, let's step back for a minute and look at this. What does it tell us? It tells us something we've been saying on this channel a lot in the year 2024. In fact, it has almost become like a song. In fact, even me, I'm bored of saying it. But I just have to say it. The level of anger of Kenyans against the William Samoei Ruto administration has reached an unprecedented level as far as past administrations, as hated as they were, are concerned. It has reached a level where now it is dangerous. It is very dangerous to us as citizens of this country. It is too much. Because those people who were in attendance of Ofindol at Murang'a, they went berserk. They just went crazy. Now this tells us, at least it should tell anybody who is observant, yeah, that the administration of William Samoei Ruto, kwisha maneno. Because how will they campaign? So when they campaign, they'll have to say two term. How will they campaign? How? You tell me. Where will they hold their rallies? Who will be in attendance of those rallies in Kenya? We have not even talked about the election or rigging an election. No, we're just at the basics, the beginning of a campaign. Okay, sasa campaign imeanza officially. So and so is a candidate. So and so is a candidate for the presidency. Now start your campaigns. Even you are the representatives, promote this presidential candidate. Promote your presidential candidate. So you're standing for a seat as an MCA somewhere. And people already know that you're supporting this person for the presidency. Will you be allowed to campaign? Will you be allowed to speak to the people? No, I'm asking a question. Based on how Muthoni Marubu was treated, yeah, and in my opinion, she didn't say anything very major. Yeah, she just said that people in this region are very lucky, that she admires the electricity, their tarmac, etc., etc., and that, for that reason, she's supporting two-term. That's all she said. Very innocent. I mean, it's not a major thing. If that caused that kind of trouble, how will MCAs campaign on the ground for this presidential candidate? You tell me. How? The road carnage ongoing in Kenya, including early this year in the last few days, has gone overboard. It is too much. Okay? And in my opinion, it is spiritual. And in my opinion, based on past general elections, when we are very close to a general election, this is exactly what happens. You go back into the records, search online. Always before a general election, road accidents go overboard. Why? I've done a video on this many years ago. It has a spiritual reason. Many of these people who seek power, maybe you want an MP seat or maybe you want an MCA seat, you want to be governor, they seek other powers, yeah, to assist them to ascend to power. And these dark powers demand human blood. It's as simple as that. And therefore, what really worries me, what really keeps me awake at night, is the fact that this would suggest there is a general election which is much closer than most of us imagine. The way things are going, this general election is not going to be in August 2027. Otherwise, this would have been happening December 2026, going into January 2027. But we were in December 2025, going into January 2026. So there's something wrong there. There is something very, very wrong. And it is cause for concern. Great cause for concern, according to me. Babu Owino was attacked by Robert Alai at an upmarket restaurant, entertainment spot, whatever you want to call it, in Kilimani. And Babu Owino was attacked and assaulted by Robert Alai. Multiple witnesses saw it go down. Okay? In fact, Babu Owino went into a police station to report it. Now, of course, people have exaggerated what really happened. Yeah, in one particular report I read, shots were fired towards Babu Owino. Hey, Kenyans, even if you want views, surely. Anyway, that is what happened. Yeah, Babu Owino saw other people he knew seated at another table just as he was leaving. And amongst those people at that table where Babu Owino knew those other people was seated Nairobi MCA, Robert Alai. And the person stood up, this Robert Alai. And that is when this thing went down. And Babu Owino walked away. Multiple witnesses confirmed the same. So that is what happened. There was a confrontation. Okay? Remember, we're saying all these things are connected. Isn't that what I said at the beginning? Just reminding you. Okay? All these things I'm mentioning are all connected to one thing and one thing alone. Yeah, which I'll tell you shortly. And then there's this very worrying thing that has recently happened. We've been told that there's a brand new online police force being formed. Online police force. What will they be doing? Full-time, 24 hours, 365 days. They'll be checking what people are saying online. Yeah? And they'll just not be checking. They'll be checking and making arrests. That is really what it is. Now, all these things you've talked about, all of them suggest only one thing. Somebody is preparing for a general election very, very soon, and not in 2027. That is what these things are telling us. Now, of course, it doesn't make sense to me. I'm sure it doesn't make sense to you. It doesn't make sense to me either. But that is what we're seeing clearly. You see, as an analyst, you should never be allowed to be led by your own emotions and knowledge and experience over what is happening before your eyes. Yeah? Don't try to fit what is happening before your eyes to your own theories and your own knowledge and your own experience. No. You take the evidence in front of you and you allow it to lead you where it will lead you. And this evidence is leading us to a general election very soon, in a couple of months. Hey. Now, here's the knockout punch. All these things you've mentioned, apart from the arrest of the Venezuelan president, all point to an election in Kenya very soon. And so as all these things are happening, obviously based on information we do not have, I do not have, yeah, I don't know who has it, yeah? All these things have been interrupted by what happened in Venezuela. Yeah. It is like there's a fire already happening. There's a fire already going down. And then something else happens. Somebody comes with a lorry, yeah, loaded with petrol. And then they start spraying petrol, yeah, somewhere ahead, yeah, right next to some very nice mansionettes, very nice houses, almost castles. They start spreading petrol there. And you know this fire is heading exactly there. That is exactly the situation. God Almighty have mercy on the nation called Kenya. Now, I just want to inform you that my very latest special report, which details on exactly how Jerome was assassinated, complete to the timeline, exactly what happened when, very sensitive, is going to be released very shortly. So if you already have a golden key, just wait for that sound on your smartphone. Ding ding! A message has entered your email. It will be that latest highly sensitive special report. Now, in case you don't have this golden key, you will only need Kenya shillings 3,999. You can see details on your screens right now. And you'll be able to gain access to this highly sensitive special report. But I also have some good news. In case you are late in getting a golden key, yeah, I have one final special offer that will allow you to get a permanent golden key. For only Kenya shillings 4,500, you'll not only get this, my latest highly sensitive special report, but you'll get all other previous special reports, all weekly intelligence briefings, everything Kumekucha will never need to pay again. Yeah, for only Kenya shillings 4,500, because you'll have activated your own golden key. You can see details on your screens right now. Please move with speed. This offer expires. No extensions. No extensions. It expires in exactly 48 hours. So please rush. Move with speed to avoid being left out. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.